Fun and games here in Motorland Aragon. Race 2 has just finished. What a great race it was. We're going to catch up with Johnny. In fact, we're going to catch up with Jonathan now. Johnny, you were lucky to stay on there, mate. A little bit of action going on with Garrett. Bit of tarmac, tyre rubbing. We can't see because it's black, but how was that for you?
I actually just got my bike. It was, do you know what, he made a mistake, but I feel sorry for him because he was so gutted. He came and apologised quite firmly, and maybe I'd be more pissed off if I didn't finish, but I mean, I actually forgot about it pretty quickly and focused on my race.
Yeah, you had plenty to contend with BMWs coming at you and your teammate.
The only way out of that move was because his bike was stuck on my bike, was I got on the gas and went straight through the gravel, and then, put my head down. I could see Scott's decision in the grid. On the warm-up lap was the right one, and then I just knew that at one point he was going to come through, but the rest of the grid were on my choice or the others, so I knew I would race for second today, which was fair enough. And we got it done. So
good job. Well, we're going to follow the riders through then to the sort of the debrief room, if we can call it that. It's what we call the post-live room. So they come into this room here where the journalists are here as well, and again representatives from Dawn are just making sure everybody's where they need to be. And then this little setup here, you will have seen if you were watching us last year. This is where the riders that finish inside the top 6 basically speak to the journalists that aren't here. And you see the work for the riders never really stops. They go straight into the television interviews. Firstly, they will do an interview with WorldSBK Television. Here's Alex Lowe's. Let's get a quick word with him. Cracking weekend. We spoke to his wife earlier on. Well, Mrs. L said that Mr. L had a great weekend. She said she's very chill, very relaxed, and she's very happy. So that's quite nice when your missus says
life,
that.
Easy life.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. I'll have to just go and get married now to be able to use it.
To be honest, it's really nice because last year she wasn't able to come, and I like to have her at the racetrack. She reminds me, if I'm being grumpy, reminds me that we've got the best job in the world, and you moan about the things that you don't need to moan about. Great to have her here, and at least I've done quite well. So yeah,
3 podiums to start the season. I mean, that's cracking, isn't it? You're 15 points off Johnny, and it's a long championship. So I don't want to talk about championships, but 3 podiums is what everybody wants, isn't it?
Yeah, obviously he beat me just in the races, so I want to try and get closer, but I'm really happy with the start. These first 3 or 4 rounds, just want to be as consistent as possible, get the points on the board, and it's a long time since Philippine last year where we won on the Kawasaki, and fancy a bit more of it, so I'll be trying to do that next week.
What a cracking return to form that was. It's been a difficult weekend for you, but right decision. I spoke to Stefano Ciccone, your team principal, just before the podium. He said, no, Scott was absolutely adamant. We're going with slicks. It's the right decision, and it proved to be. I mean, that's a fantastic way for you to kickstart your season.
Yeah, it was a hard weekend, I'll be honest. We didn't go nowhere near as easy flowing as we expected. I come in super confident, feeling good with the team and the bike, and it just didn't work that way. But it's nice to finish with a win. It's just nice to get that up feeling again for me and the team, so we can put it behind us on a high note and then move on to Estery.
I want to ask you very quickly, because again, what we're trying to do this year is just not talk about just the races, are we? We're trying to give the fans, imagine you've got the paddock show and we can have a little bit of banter on the paddock show and things like that. We get different questions. I want to kind of ask you questions that journalists aren't asking, but try and describe to the fans, when you're sat on the grid, and Jonathan said it earlier on, 15-20 minutes is a long time when you're sitting on the grid. And this track, surprisingly for everybody, seemed to drive very quickly today. What goes through your mind? Try and put it into some kind of context for the people watching.
Yeah, it's a long time on the grid anyway, let alone when you need to make a decision that the tyre you put in, and then it's the 5-minute board and you can't change the bike. Your decision is done, and as you saw in that race, that all comes down to that one decision.
Yeah.
But you're thinking, do I go with a slick tyre? And I see the ground is wet. The ground is wet. Normally I go rain tyre. It's raining a little bit. I should go with rain tyre, but I need to think later in the race with the slick. But a slick tyre on the rain could have a big crash. You take a lot of risk, and this is all just going through your head. Then all the other times, like this morning, we went with the rain. It didn't work. Never really used an intermediate before. What do I do?
Well, that's a pure example, isn't it? What you just said there. Exactly. 3 hours earlier, it went wrong.
Yeah.
You got the right decision, and it goes right. It's you're on a knife edge, aren't you?
And that's the thing, and it all comes down to that one decision. When it's all kind of clean and the weather's good, your tyre, you're quite calm, you know what you do, and you plan a little bit race, but like that, all your pre-race prep is out the window. It's all like, what do we need to do last minute? Suspension, tyres, this, that, and then go. And it's a lot of stress, man. It's mental.
what I'm going to ask you just very, very quickly, I'm only going to let you go because we've got other races still going on here. The World Supersport 300 race is about to finish. We want to try some new things this year. Are you around? Obviously, you'll be around in Estoril. Can we come and have a little nosy in your little office? Can you give us a little bit of a tour?
Tidy it up a bit first.
No, don't tidy it up. We want to see it as a complete mess. We want to see the real Scott Redding. Are you up for that at Estoril?
Yeah, bring over and see what goes on, see what we got in there, see if there's any goodies, but probably not.
Good job. Well, remember there's kids watching, so anything that's a bit dodgy, just put to one side.
So try and finish it on a bottle flip?
Yeah, come on, let's have it, Scott. Let's have it. Oh!
Yeah!
Well, what a perfect way to end the first episode of Behind the Scenes with the race winner, Scott Redding, who heads to Estoril, third in the championship, all to play for. Cheers, buddy. We'll see you in 5 days' time. And for everybody watching at home, thanks for tuning in. 5 days' time, we'll be back in Estoril. Next week, we will have a little bit of a different Motul behind the scenes. As Scott just said there, we're going to go and have a little glimpse and a little rummage around in his drawers and his cupboards and see what he's got in his Ducati tent.